know that tonight is what we call the Yom HaDehilula, the time that Rabbi Isaac Luria actually left the world. Can we close the noise? Thank you. This is the time that Rabbi Isaac Luria left this world, and we know that every time that a righteous person leaves, going to the next level, it's giving us the chance to connect to the energy, or the specific energy that specific righteous person revealed. Tonight, we have an opportunity. Rabbi Luria, what can I say more that most of you don't know? I think you know it all by now, but it's important to talk about it for a reason. I need his help, you need his help, we all need the help of the Ari. And it's an opportunity to talk and to read the fascinating concept of what Rabbi Isaac Luria wanted to share. My son Yehuda is here also to share from the gate of reincarnation in English. Exciting news. But before my son is talking, before I'm talking, just to share the story of who Rabbi Isaac Luria was and why him. What's so special? And the idea is, when you read Rabbi Isaac Luria book, you read clarity. You read certainty. You know what to do. You also know what not to do. You know where to go. You know where not to go. You know where the righteous people are buried. Before him, nobody knew where they're buried. Everything clear is actually coming from Rabbi Isaac Luria. I mean, try to understand. When you're driving in a fog and you can't see anything, and you try to kind of guess where to go, Rabbi Isaac Luria opening your eyes and telling you, this is the right direction. This is the wrong direction. With no agenda, with no fear. What do you think, what you like, what you don't like about him? Story of his life. He lost his father in a young age. Early in his life, very early. His mother making a living, want to make money, try to go back to her brother in Egypt and live with him so they can make a living. Rabbi Isaac Luria was discovered in Egypt while he was talking to Elijah the prophet, and all the angels come to listen to his praying and to his talk. As that was happening, Rabbi Isaac Luria was promised to be taken care by the rich family, his uncle, and in the same time he married his daughter. Sound like a good deal. So that make him rich and spiritual. He moved with all this money to the city called the city of Tzfat, northern part of Israel. That's what make Tzfat famous of Kabbalists. The city was famous before Rabbi Isaac Luria arrived. It was many other Kabbalists who lived in that town, include Rabbi Chaim Vital, include Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, include of all the other Kabbalists. So the entire city, after the Inquisition, while people were in Spain, people actually moved to the northern part of Israel, to the city of Tzfat. Rabbi Isaac Luria moved there as a young man, young teacher. You can call him young rabbi. Nobody know who he was. They know he's rich. And for that reason, he's now in Tzfat, have a grocery store. In all Kabbalah, the way Kabbalah needs to be known. A town lived a great Kabbalist by the name of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, one of the most famous Kabbalists of all time. the Ramak. Before he died, his student asked him a question. He said, teacher, where do you want to be buried? He said, in that mountain in Tzfat. It's not even a mountain, it's a mount. He said, teacher, but where? What location? He said, you will see what location. And the one who will see what location, based on the cloud above his dead body, will be the successor. And he died. Rabbi Luria joined the cemetery because you know how great is this mitzvah to help a dead man, because a dead man can never pay you back. So that's for that reason it's considered one of the best things you can do. And he go with them. They turn left, not telling anybody that they actually have no idea where to go. And Rabbi Luria say, hey, wait a minute. The cloud above the body turned right. And everybody look at him and says, this young guy, was very young, let's say about 30. And I turned the bed to the other side and bury him wherever Isaac Luria said to bury him. Rabbi Isaac Luria became famous after that point. The rich man who see things, who mystical, read palm, read face, read angel, is now a grocery store manager who can actually do a lot of mystical stuff. In the same town lived the famous Rabbi Chaim Vital, that our organization is after his name, Vital Transformation, Vital. Rabbi Chaim Vital studied Zohar a lot and had reached a point where things were complicated. He asked the angel to help, slept with tears in his eyes because he couldn't find out what the Zohar meant. And the angel kept telling him in this dream, go to Isaac, the owner of a store, and he will explain the Zohar to you. Wake up in the morning, say, I'm not going to a grocery guy, Glattmart, or Livonia to ask them about the Zohar. Same thing happened, same dream. Same thing happened, same dream. Decided to go. Walk around the store, you know how it is. He doesn't want to walk in. Look around, check it out. Walk in. Rabbi Isaac Luria, at that time, nobody knew him as a rabbi. Rich man doing mysticism. Turned around and called him by his name. Say, Chaim, if you came to ask me about section 176 in the Parashat Pinchas, about the section, what does that mean when Malchut go up to Binah, when it's the nest of the birds, complicated case, the answer you can be found, he told him everything. Of course, at that time, nervous. And it's famous, he's a rabbi who's famous. Rabbi Chaim Vital is a famous rabbi. But how can he that low to go to a grocery store to ask him? For that moment, he became a student. Tough student, by the way. Tough student. Never listened to none of what Rabbi Isaac Luria asked him to do. He told him, don't bring any friend to study with us because the angel don't allow anybody to study with him beside you. He bring all his friends. He told him, don't walk in Israel in certain places because there is righteous people and not righteous people who bury in the cemetery, and some of them are to do with against your soul. And if you go there, they can kill you. Even they did. He decided to go there anyway. And his body was flying in the air about 20 feet up. And he couldn't talk. Isaac Luria has to do some herbs and some words to bring him down to earth and fix him. Took him 3 days. And he, in every second, he'd say, why can't you just listen? Whatever he told them, Rabbi Chaim Vital challenged him. He didn't believe he can read palm and face and hora. So he sent him an old lady to test him. So just, I pay you $200, let's say those days, and you just go for a reading with him. She goes, Rabbi, I need their help with the read. I tell her, listen, if that's my student Rabbi Chaim Vital send you, please, here is $400, just go back to him, okay? So it used to be very funny if you see the way teacher-student situation. And of course, the shock was when he died, tonight. Then Rabbi Chaim Vital woke up to understand he lost everything. And I can show you the section, the minute when he died. He even write to you, coincidentally, look where I opened. That's the weirdest section in Dari. If Jewish people will see, they will go crazy. Look what he write. לצפון צפת, to the northern part of Tzfat, לכתך מצפת, if you walk in Tzfat, and you go north into the village called עין זיתון, there is actually a place called עין זיתון. דרך אילן אחד, there is a bush, or not a bush, אילן, a tree, של חרוב, carob tree, שם קבור ישו נוצרי. I can assure you that Jesus is buried under that tree. Rabbi has a Luria. Like, he tell you every human being where they bury in Israel from 2,000 years ago. Everyone. So he'd say, this is the moment he died, then I'll let you just speak. סיפר לי הרב יצחק הכהן, told me Rabbi Yitzchak HaKohen, that when my teacher died, when I left him, Rabbi Chaim Vital left him, he came in and he started crying. I remember he didn't like to talk to anybody but Rabbi Chaim Vital. So Rabbi Chaim Vital left and he put Rabbi Yitzchak HaKohen there. And Rabbi Yitzchak tried to tell him, וכי זו התקווה שהיינו כולם מתאבים בחייך? Is this all the hope we had? לראות טובה ותורה וחוכמה גדולה. To see wisdom, Torah, everything that ever the universe had. Till Rabbi Isaac Luria, nobody was in that level. And he said to him, well, if I found only one among you, complete righteous, they wouldn't tell me to leave this physical universe. לא סילקוני מהעולם הזה. קודם זונים. ועודנו מדבר עמו, שאל עליי ואמר, היכן הלך חיים? While I'm talking to him, he said to Rabbi Chaim Vital, all what he asked, where is Chaim? Where is Chaim? בשעה כזאת הלך מאצלי. In a time like this he left. In a time like this he leaving. והצטער מאוד. Rabbi Isaac Luria felt very bad. And he understood that he wanted to give Rabbi Chaim Vital the top secret of Kabbalah. אז אמרנו לו, מה נעשה? אמר לו, מה נעשה? כאן ואילך. He said, what are we going to do from this moment on? And he said, tell my friend with my name, from today, do not touch this wisdom at all, because they don't get it. And if they study it the way they want, they will never be spiritual. Only if they do it to Rabbi Chaim Vital. So he said, there is no hope for us? He said, if you're married, I will come and I will teach you. ויאמר לו, איך תבוא ותלמדנו אחר שאתה נפטר אתה? So how are you going to come and teach us? You're dying. ויאמר לו, אין לך עסק בנסתרות. You have no business with mystical stuff or with mysticism. איך תהיי ביתי לכם, whatever I come בחלום, בהקיץ, dreaming, vision. And then he said, get out of this room. You're a Kohen, and you shouldn't be here while the soul leaves the body. And as Rabbi Yitzchak HaKohen running out, he saw the spirit of Rabbi Isaac Luria left. Story. Rabbi Isaac Luria. Every time, study Kabbalah, study Tari, take it in. Don't just study it like this. Take it in. It's a very serious thing. Very serious thing. I'm going to go to more stuff and I'm going to teach you more stuff, but my son is pushing me here so he can speak, otherwise he will fall asleep. So you have the other microphone to give him so I don't have to hook up and hook down?
You better use that one because it's connected to the top.
Okay. Here you go. This is my son Yehuda. Most of you call him Judah. All right, people of Facebook, Do you want me to continue? I guess you do.
Yeah.
All right, continue. You have to be nice.
Okay. So the Ari talks about in this section of
Look from time to time to come. But you're good. You're good. You're good.
so in this section of the Gates of Reincarnation, one of the books of the Ari talks about the connections between the souls of fathers and sons and teachers and students. So there are two types of sons that a father is capable of bringing to this world. One that is on a spiritual level that is within 500 levels. There are a lot of different spiritual levels as far as where souls can come from. And one is a son that comes from a spiritual level that is more than 500 levels away. And the difference between these two is that the son that the father brings that's more than 500 levels away is going to be outshone, that spark, which is the soul, is going to be outshone by the father's soul so much that their souls in the upper worlds will become one and will become part of the same root. The sun that is less than 500 levels away is, on that scale, it's so close together that it's bright enough to shine on its own, and while he will still be connected to his father, he will be able to establish his own root, his own branch of souls connected to him. So that's the level of father and son.
But it's always 500?
It's 500 and less is the son that will be able to establish some independence. 500 and over 500 is the son that will be outshone spiritually by the father.
How do you know if you're 500 or 420?
After 120 years, you go up and you ask. So then there's the teacher and student. And what's special about the teacher-student relationship is that we know in the Talmud it says that if you see both your father and your teacher are drowning, chas v'shalom, that it shouldn't happen to anyone, that you're actually supposed to save your teacher first. Why? Because both a father and a teacher give part of their soul to their son or their student. And when I say teacher, I don't mean like a third grade math teacher. I mean like really like a teacher like the Ari was to Rabbi Chaim Vital. The difference in the part of the soul that the teacher gives to the student, that part of the soul will stay with that student for life no matter what. With a father and son, the son will eventually grow out of the piece of the soul that his father gave him and create his own ol makif, which is the part of the soul that every child gets from the father, which is the surrounding light. So the Ari actually brings a proof for this in a pasuk, in a verse from the book of Samuel. The nefesh of David became attached to Yonatan. David was King David. Yonatan was the son of King Saul, and they were the best of friends. And this verse says that their souls were attached to each other. What does that mean? It means that King David and Jonathan were each other's teachers. They learned from each other constantly. And to this extent, their souls were literally connected in this teacher-student way forever, and they still are now. And the Ari brings up an interesting situation. If there's a teacher and a student, but the student is also the father of the teacher, what happens spiritually with the connection of the souls? So, one, the connection that the two souls have between them is doubled, it's compounded, it's even more powerful. And the same principle with the 500 levels applies. If they are within 500 levels of each other, they will be independent but still connected. If they are over 500 levels from each other, the one who is higher will outshine the lower one, and they will become part of one root. So now the Ari moves on to, at the time of conception, what is decided about what type of child this child will be. And there are 4 different pathways.
A lot of information. Are you ready for that? This is coming down.
There are 4 different pathways. There's one where both parents were in the right consciousness at the time of conception. There's one where the father was in the right consciousness, but the mother wasn't. There's one where the mother was in the right consciousness, but the father wasn't. And there's one where neither parent was in the right consciousness. And what
It's called carnival kids.
right consciousness means that the focus was to do the mitzvah of bringing down a soul that God intended to send down. That would be considered the right consciousness. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the father gives the child the ol makif, the surrounding light, and the mother gives the child the ol pnimi, the inner light. The difference between the two, ol makif is the type of light that can't be contained within a vessel. It's too powerful, so it surrounds it almost as like a protection. The inner light is the light that can be contained in a vessel, and that's what actually fulfills the vessel. So, if both parents are in the right consciousness at the time of conception, then the child will have no problems being spiritual. It'll come very easily to him, and he'll be one of the highest souls of the generation. If the father was in the right consciousness and the mother wasn't, the child will start off a little bit challenged spiritually, but because of the nature of surrounding light, it surrounds the entire vessel, it will be able to affect all of the inner light that was brought in the wrong consciousness, and eventually the child will be okay. Unfortunately, there's also what happens in the opposite direction. If the father was in the wrong consciousness, but the mother was in the right consciousness, it will have the opposite effect.
Start very well.
And if both of the parents were in the wrong consciousness, I don't have to tell you what will happen. So the Ari then brings up another indicator of what exactly happened at the time of conception.
That's a tough indicator.
Yeah. So if a person is always light on their feet, quick to do things, quick-minded, then you know that the father's surrounding light, whether it was the right consciousness or the wrong consciousness, was the more powerful one. If the person tends to be more relaxed, maybe a little bit lazy, then you know that the inner light was the stronger light, whether it was brought down with the right consciousness or the wrong consciousness. So, if it was, let's say the father's light was the stronger one, and it was brought down with the right consciousness. This means that that the child will be quick to do spiritual acts and quick to get down the spiritual path and achieve amazing levels of spirituality. If the father's light was stronger, but it wasn't brought down with the right consciousness, then the child will unfortunately be quick to do the exact opposite.
Everybody got it? He will still be quick because of the father, but for what he will be quick?
If the mother's light was stronger, and it was done in the right consciousness, then the person will be laid back, but only when it comes to doing the wrong thing. They'll take their time. You know what, I don't have to do it now, I'll do it later. They'll always be lazy to do the wrong thing, but they won't have that problem with doing the right thing, with doing the spiritual thing. If the mother's energy is stronger and was brought down in the wrong way, then the child will always be lazy to do the spiritual thing, to do the right thing.
It's clear on the category, we have it all.
And a little proof to this, the Rabbi brings that in the Kohelet Rabbah, which is a
You don't know the name of Kohelet in English. That's
whatever that,
you say that?
Ecclesiastes.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You have a lot of fans on Facebook. Okay, go ahead.
It talks about how there was a man in the times of King David named Asael, and
You love him.
yeah, he was known to be so quick on his feet that he could run across the top of wheat stalks without bending them. That's how quick on his feet he was.
Not so bad, right?
So the Ari brings that midrash, that, how do you say midrash in English?
Story.
That's little anecdote to prove that that Asael, his father's light, was the one that was more powerful in him. And, just to cap it all off, to me, I think this says a little bit something about predestination, but also about how the kid, even though we just explained why the kid doesn't really have a choice, we all have a choice. Yeah, we all have tendencies one way or the other, and that may or may not be the fault of our parents. But the reason we're here is to overcome those tendencies. Like we said earlier, it's possible for the son to outgrow the light of his father if we work hard at our spiritual work with the help of the Ari, with the help of any help we can get. We can become our own people and we can shine brighter than anyone has before us.
Thank you. Wow. Well, it's hard to add to it, right? I mean, so I'm just going to summarize. Thank you, Yehuda, for doing that. And thank you for choosing that specific subject so I can look at myself and say, what is that I need to change to? And those of you who's asking, what if my parents didn't know nothing? What can I do? So the correction for this is called mikveh. The mikveh is like you're born again. You go to the mikveh, and it gives you a chance to reborn or give birth to yourself again. I just would like to read a few things, and then I'll let everybody go because it's getting late. So it say that the Ari used to do different things. And it say like this. In Yana Sagato, the way that he achieved things, he has all the חוכמות. היה יודע להמשיך לפניו נפש מי שתהיה. מן החיים ומן הנפטרים ומן הראשונים או האחרונים. If you want to talk to a soul, it just bring it, dead people, living people, everybody. Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet, always come to him and teach him. He look at the forehead of people, he know everything. So he look at the, bless you, he look at the chirping of the birds, the talking of the bushes and the trees, herbs, talking to the candles, knew all the herbs that cure you. And he say, I would like to leave you with one thing. And there's a Valerie say thank you about this subject. Not a fan, not giving his number. Anyway, moving to Santa Barbara soon, so cannot be found in LA. So, אמר לי מורי ז"ל, my teacher told me, כי אם האדם מריח בהדס, myrtles, you know myrtles? If you smell the myrtle on Friday night, יוכל להבין באותו הריח, by smelling myrtle on Friday night only, ולהכיר באיזה איבר ממנו עומדת נשמתו. And then you know exactly which part of the soul of Adam you came from. We did it, we know. We talk about it. Sometimes when you smell it, deep enough, you feel it in your feet, shoulders, head, different people, different area. So this is the secret I want to leave you with. Now you know, those of you who do Shabbat with me on Friday, I always disappear to the kitchen. There is always some bunch of green leaves there that I'm doing some meditation with. So a lot of time Debbie said to me, you know, it look weird, you leave everybody and you run to the kitchen and touch the leaves and talk to them. It's sweet. I said, I didn't invent it. It's written. Second thing the Ari said to do in the morning, I can never do it, I'm trying, it's yoga. But the yoga has to be, שייכנס קשרי הזרועות, this is called קשרי הזרועות, and you have to put them together in the morning. Yeah, and pull them forward. After you do that, you good? I'm not. כנזכר בזוהר פרשת ויחי. Why you have to do that, right? ולא יהיו כפופים באופן שיצאו הקשרים לצד אחורי הגוף. And a person has to do it like straight arm, and then let the bone somehow touch. More things he told us here. When a person leaves the house, if we see a dog passing by and the dog stop and the dog bow to them, then they know they're going to have a good day today. Go for it. If the dog turn around, maybe stay home. מורה על בשורה טובה. ואם יהפוך אחוריו אליך, יורך על זה שלום להפך. So, the Ari, what we asking, Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, open our eyes to look at the spiritual thing, not to be jealous, not to speak bad about each other, and help us. Help us to have more desire for spirituality. Because if we have more desire for spirituality and for God and for every good thing, it will be a little bit easier for all of us. But we don't have the same desire. I want to say thank you to the people at home and in my web. Thank you for all the people on the web. I want to say thank you to the people on Facebook and thank you to Facebook boss. I want to say thank you to Yehuda. I want to say thank you to the people who came and stayed that late. I want to say thank you to my wife who having a cold, but she's here behind me making sure that all the job been done. And I want to thank the Creator for helping all of us to come together. And don't forget, we're working on to see if we can do a live video for all of you on Tisha B'Av, but you still have to be here. If you live in LA, you have to hear it on your own in this location. And thank you and have a great evening. Thank you.